Hello and welcome to the Zach Brown Show, the show that introduces you to old friends one story at a time. I'm your host, Zach Brown. On this episode, I talk with Dave Recchione. We talk about our shared love of Disney music, the joy of being a musician, and the concerts that got away. All that and more, coming up. Well, friends, joining us this evening, coming all the way from Niagara Falls, is my friend and soon to be yours, the one, the only, Mr. Dave Recchione. Dave, how's it going, dude?
Hey, Mr. Brown, how are you? It's going very, very well. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you and just talking about stuff that we love to talk about, man. Thank you for having me, man.
You're most welcome. So Dave and I have met through the, grand amalgam that is the WDW radio family. And so, we owe this all to Lou Mongello and just his continued bringing in of people into his fold. And so this night is, inspired by that and love for Disney. And, maybe you're not a Disney person. Maybe you're not a music person. Well, you're human, so you're a music person, but just Dave and I are going to sit and talk and you get to listen. So, Dave and I have known each other for a while, but over the last couple of years, Dave, we've had time together at the Momentum workshop. And it was funny that we were sitting at a table and there was some sort of exercise about like doing video or doing a podcast, whatever it was. And they were like, what would you do? And I'm, not playing teacher's pet, but I'm kind of like, ooh, let's do the whole, let's play off of somebody here in the room and looking around. And I thought, I looked over the next table. I'm thinking, well, frick, Dave Recchione's over there. And he's a musician. I'm a musician. We're both Disney guys. We both this is so easy. This is just hit record and go. And I love it because I looked over and you were like, let's do it.
Yeah, it was like that dawn moment, right? Like, why haven't we thought about this beforehand? I love getting to know you through the Momentum. And it's one of those things where you have the little light bulb goes off and you go, oh, that's a brother from another mother. We have so many things in common. And once we start talking to each other, you feel a connection and everything. So yeah, this is great, man. Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. So before we get into kind of the meat of this, out of my own curiosity, so you're a musician. I know you're a piano guy and you do some singing. Where did that journey start for you? Was there someone in your family that was a musician or was it somebody that you saw? Where did that start?
I always try to remember this because I had a feeling you were going to ask that. But after 64 years of age, I will tell you this. My mom and dad was my mom and dad and my older brother, who's 7 years older. Okay. My brother is a musician also. Cool. So a lot of it was he would play and I wanted to be like my brother Bob. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't really take lessons. I would mimic what he was doing and all that kind of stuff, kind of play by ear early. I never got to see my dad, but apparently I grew up with my dad. I want to say it that way, but my dad apparently was very musical. And I have a picture. I have one of my favorite pictures of him singing in front of a big band, not Big Bang Theory, but the big band, when he was young, and cool. And he would tell me stories. So he was always very musical. So I want to say that my mom, not so much. She was not very musical. She was always very supportive. Like my mom and dad, whatever I did, whether it was in high school or years after college and all that, they were always there.
That's great.
Yeah, so I was very appreciative about that. But my dad, I think, had the musical ability and he was a ham on stage. And I think between my dad, I think I got it from my dad. It was enhanced by hanging out with my brother.
Yeah.
He plays keyboards. And we got to we always talk about music and all that kind of stuff. So I would have to say it goes back to that,
Brother Bob.
Yeah, Brother Bob, man. In fact, I have a song. I did an album called "The Kid from the Falls," where it's all Niagara Falls, Buffalo related type of thing. Yeah. And he plays on one of the tunes. He's an amazing composer, piano player, and the guitar player. Anyways, I named the song "Brother from the Same Mother." So
I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's probably where it came from, Zach. And it's just been a part of my life ever since.
Now, okay, so you get the inspiration because we all have those moments where we see somebody and we're like, okay, like I want to
Mhm.
do that thing. But then
Yeah,
the next step goes when the journey begins and we're starting to kind of find like our sound. We're finding those things because we all just gravitate towards different things. And we have a variety of interest in music and influence, but who are those artists or bands early on that you were like, man, I just want to do that, or I want to sit and figure out how to play their stuff? Who was that for you?
so it would probably have been like Elton John at the beginning, Billy
Yeah.
Joel. You'd gravitate towards piano guys, but my interests, I have so many, like my interest in genres and all that kind of is all over the place.
Yeah.
I mentioned, you got the piano classics like Billy and Elton, but give me some Barry Manilow.
Mhm.
I'm a fan of Low. And then I go into that's the thing. Don't laugh. That's the thing now. I got a big Broadway.
Okay.
I love musical theater. I've done musical theater.
Yeah.
My brother, when I first started, my brother introduced me to jazz.
Mm.
So give me Weather Report, Chick Corea, jazz fusion.
Hmm.
Then I started in school playing in big bands. And so I got into that. My dad would go, hey, what about, I'm listening to Maynard Ferguson and all that kind of stuff. And he's bringing Glenn Miller to me, I grew up with a lot of different styles, but
Yeah.
obviously I think the main guys were like Elton in his 70s. Okay, I know that's way
Mhm.
before your time, but now we're dealing with early Elton John and Billy Joel, where artists used to release an album a year and tour a year.
Yeah.
And anytime they would come to Buffalo, I was there. So yeah,
That's so cool.
that's probably where it is.
I
But a
love
lot of
that.
jazz and a lot of that stuff too. So
And I just geek out talking with musicians, and it's so fun because, I don't want to sound like I don't pretentious, but we do speak a very common language. We can share those things, and whether your genre is the same as mine, we can still show appreciation for the craft, the execution of the craft, the showmanship.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and I love talking with people who, as I get older, not that I'm old, but as I get older, I try to be better about the willingly saying, "I don't know about that, but please tell me more." And
Yeah.
so when somebody's like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever," and we initially feel stupid, like, "I should know who this is," or whatever, and I just go, "Yeah, I sorry, I don't know who this is, like, tell me about it, like, I'll check them out later." And it's so fun, like, my brother-in-law and I very differing appreciations of the music that we listen to in the car or whatever, but, one night we went over to, Scat Cats at, Port Orleans French Quarter, and
Oh, okay.
we sat and just watched the live band, and there was a little, like, jazz quartet, and he's a drummer, I'm a guitar and a keys guy, and so together, he and I make up a band or jam, and
Yep.
so we go in and sat down and we looked, and at one point, I look over, and Dave is the coolest thing, and it was just the music was just going, and there was the atmosphere and the people, they were sitting around, and I look over, and Dave, I kid you not, there was a single tear just rolling down his cheek, and he was so moved, and I looked over and I went, and he hadn't played drums in a long while, and I just went, "Do you miss
Yeah.
it?" And he goes, "Yeah," and he was just singing, there was the connection, like, he was feeling it in his triune being, his body, spirit, like mind, like they were just, like, connected with this thing, and it was just like, people who aren't musicians, who don't get it, they're just like, "Yeah, I mean, it's a good song," and you're like, "But I feel
Yeah.
it deeply, like, it's so
Yeah.
special."
Yeah. That's a good, I could just see that happening because like you said, an audience will hear it from one level, right? And a musician will listen to, like, I constantly like, oh, those are nice chord changes, or I like that lyric
Yep,
there. Oh, I like how they did this. Oh, wow, nice key change.
yep,
We listen to it at a whole different level, and then we can sit back, and then we can sit back and go, just enjoy the art for the art's sake,
mhm, yeah,
And I always listen with like multiple different layers of sometimes it's bad,
yep,
like you let the art just roll over you,
yeah,
and sometimes you could just dig into, the craft, like you said, the craft, and appreciate it. And even if it's not your genre, if you're a musician, you can appreciate what that musician's doing.
Yeah.
And at least, because it's not everybody has that gift, and it should be appreciated. So,
you get this especially because you're a keys guy, you sit there and you're like, he could have played just a D there, but he played D over F sharp, and you just went, ooh, that was good. He just, for those who are watching video, I always say that the greatest compliment that one musician can give to another is that look of like, just that, like, that stank face of like, oh, that was good.
yeah. Ooh, soft. Yeah. Or the, oh, no.
Yeah. So, we're already predispositioned to this thing, this influence, this expression and appreciation of this art form. And then there's this other part of us, this other interest and love of the expressed art form, which is the great Mount Vesuvius of, entertainment, which is Disney.
Okay.
And when you take Disney and you take the music, it's its own thing. There's the parks, there's the cruise lines, there's the movies, there's, all the stuff. But you can really spend days, and I know there's entire podcasts and shows dedicated towards the geared towards the music. Yeah. So for you, Dave, what are some of your earliest memories, early influences of Disney music?
So growing up in Niagara Falls, we never went to the parks. We never had the opportunity to go to the parks. I think the very first time I got down there, funny enough, was maybe the year after it opened up, when it was just the Magic Kingdom. And we only went for like, maybe 2 days, that sort of thing. And I was a young kid. I don't know. I've got a picture of me with the old Mickey Mouse outside the firehouse thing. It's I won't show anybody there what a dork that kid is. But for me, the introduction was always the movies, and so I'm, going to the movies with my dad and watching a Disney film with music. Now, I certainly, I'm thinking you're talking the 70s, where it was kind of tough there, for a while, but I remember the Aristocats, and because of the jazz influence in there, Jungle Book. So those kind of where I got in to it. I didn't get even introduced in the music in the parks until much later. But for me, it was always about the animated shows and the music that were part of that. And then for some reason, the soundtracks, the scores always resonated with me. And even not Disney related, but, scores in general, movie scores in general, are something that I geek over a lot. So, but I have to say that's where my introduction, I love Disney. I was the Sunday evening kid, watching Walt and everybody back in the day. But yeah, those early movies go with my dad and everything like that. And then really kind of getting involved more and more when we got into the 80s and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah. And I love what you said about, it's beyond the songs in the movie, but it's the scores. If for me, those earliest influence, and this is, obviously placing me when I was a little kid, but it was the VHS tape sing-alongs that were just over and over and over. And so but when you said Jungle Book, that really resonated, if anybody ever asks, like, well, what's your favorite, like, Disney animated event? I always go to Jungle Book. And that George Bruns, kind of minor key, mysterious flute and whatever, it's so great. And then as I got, we'd go to Disney World and you'd hear the music in the Pirates queue, and I'm always like, oh, this is like Jungle Book. And it wasn't until later that I was like, well, it's the same guy. Like, he's basically writing it all around the same time. He's kind of stealing from himself. And it's amazing how no words, no visuals, you can put on that audio and it creates pictures in your mind. It takes you someplace. It's on a journey. It sets the tone, the feel. Like, you are there. You know, the Benny Hill music was playing at the beginning of Jungle Cruise, it'd be a completely different film. But just the fact that you feel that, and it's like,
but that's
oh,
but that's what music does. I mean, not just Disney music, but music in general, man. It sets a tone. It's a memory marker for you,
yeah,
you know, and it will bring you if it hits you and it resonates with you, it will stay with you every time you listen to it.
mhm,
And so that's kind of one of the, I don't want to say magic of music, but that's really why music is so special, because it can touch you in places that no other medium can do, with maybe the exception of live theater type of thing can
yeah,
have that resonation. But like you said, you listen to Jungle Book, I listen to my stuff, and then you know you can always remember where you were when you heard fill in the blank type of thing.
yeah.
So
And that
yeah,
that is an amazing thing. You know, they talk about like smell being like it's
yeah,
the scent that takes you back to some place, but it is amazing how music its sound really just transports you. Recently, I was listening to an interview with someone who was on the news station in the town where I was growing up, and just hearing his voice,
oh yeah,
it transported me immediately, like, not just to the house where I grew up, but it was like a specific time of year. And I was thinking about these things, and it was interesting that just his cadence, his timbre, like the whole thing. And I was like, wow, there's is the musicality of it. You know, it
yeah,
takes you
right,
to that place. And when you're having a rough day, it's the song that you're like you need, or that score that lifts you up, the music that you put on the background when you're cleaning the house or working on a project, and it's getting you going. Our friend
yeah,
Lisa builds playlists for people who run to get them through, and god
yeah, right,
it just God bless those people for doing what they do, but just
yeah, right,
but it's what is it that's getting them through? It's music. It's
yeah,
taking you
right,
through. There's
yeah.
something transcendent about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree 1,000,000%. And I think that's why it resonates so hard.
Yeah.
You and I and our fellow musicians can dissect that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But there's something about it. We could say, hey, we want to write a song or that transports people or make them feel, but sometimes that's lightning in the bottle, and
Yeah.
when it hits, man, it stays forever. So
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Do you have favorite Disney songs that you're just like that you're your go-tos no matter what, where you're like, if I put on this Disney song, like I don't care how silly or
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, no, I definitely do. I definitely have some of my favorites. Lion King for me is so I have like the old classics and the new. Well,
Yep.
I used to call them old classic and new classics, but the new classics are not new anymore.
They're 30 years old.
I right, yeah, yeah. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate that.
Sorry, Dave.
Um, yeah, it's fine, whatever. Peter Pan was always that was like my old time classic,
Yeah.
and Peter Pan isn't known for like, there's no Wish Upon a Star on there. There's
Mhm.
no Someday My Prince Will Come. But my God, for something about that just resonated with me. Lion King is the same when you think about the 90s and the huge classic came out there.
Yeah.
Something about that score. I don't know if it's because it's Elton John and Hans Zimmer, but there's something about how that just resonated.
That's a
And
magic soundtrack. Something about it
yeah.
is it hits deep, and
Oh,
I'm with you. I hear it
Pride
and I get
Lands and
moved.
everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and then there's a song that really always gets me from Tangled. I See the Light. I don't know what it is about it. I
Mhm.
See the Light. But if I'm watching it or it comes out or whatever, man, I got to stop what I'm doing and just let that just roll over because I love that song for some reason. So,
That's the best.
yeah.
There I've jokingly, like, posted different times on social media that said, if Bohemian Rhapsody is playing in the car, I will wait till the song is finished playing
You
until I get out, because you just sit and go, "It has
have
to
to.
just be."
I think it's a law.
Yeah.
I think it's a law.
Musician's law.
So, yeah, yeah.
But it is this amazing thing that there are certain things where you're like, "I just have to let this play out because it is
Yeah.
like it is it is balm for the soul when you need it
Ooh,
most." You just
yeah,
kinda
yeah.
go, it doesn't matter what's going on. If you're in a good mood, you're a bad mood, you're feeling creatively stuck, whatever. You just kind of like this hits me. What if all, my biological makeup is geared to love this song, and I've just got to crank it to 11 and let it do its thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? Like I have my go-to songs that move me or inspire me.
Yeah.
And the person next to me could be looking at me like, I don't get it, but they have theirs, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the power of music, that it can reach anybody where they are at any time.
And now, a word from our sponsors. If you're like me, you probably wear clothes every day. You wake up and wonder, what am I going to wear today? Same old boring shirt as yesterday? No thanks. But don't worry, I've got you covered. You can order your very own Zac Brown t-shirt today. Visit the Zac Brown Show-shop.fourthwall.com, or you can just check the show notes for a link. In addition to t-shirts, we've got other fun stuff like hats, stickers, mugs, and more. Get your Zac Brown Show gear only on fourthwall.com.
Sure, and we've all been there. You're standing 3 feet away from a lovely lass about to ask for a date, but you lose the nerve. Well, say goodbye to those weak knees and say hello to McGuffin's Liquid Courage. Made in the bogs of Ireland, McGuffin's Liquid Courage Irish whiskey is like having the Emerald Isle in a bottle. It's so authentic, you would swear you can smell the peat. Here's what some of our satisfied customers have to say. McGuffin's ruined my marriage. McGuffin's made me believe I could fly. Because of McGuffin's, I am no longer welcome at Rico's Corndog Castle. McGuffin's Liquid Courage. Smell the peat. Smell it!
Listen, I know we're all enjoying the commercials, but let's get back to the show. So something that I think is kind of interesting, and I don't believe that this is exclusive to Disney. I'm sure there's others out there. I just didn't have them. But something that I grew up with were the read-alongs.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Let's talk about those.
I know they start, they had the what is it, C read and whatever it was, the three things with the little 45s, and the records. And in my day, they were cassettes with a little booklet, and they also had, the full, 33 1/3 with the full page things.
Sure.
So did you have those growing up?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. Oh, man, those are great memories you just brought up. I had a bunch of them. If I can, let me tell you a story. I hope you find it funny. If not, though, you can edit it out, I guess. So I mentioned that Peter Pan was one of my favorite classic ones, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember vividly getting the read along with Peter Pan. And if you remember, a lot of them had the music and the dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Well, I memorized Captain Hook's, I think it's probably his opening speech or whenever you started. I had like word for word. I don't know how young I was. I was young. I was under 10, I'm sure. Drove my brother crazy because I would walk around the house doing shmee and do this whole thing. And I swear I think he at one point hit it, but it didn't matter because I had already memorized it. I love those read along books, and, because it was another way to bring not to overuse it, but bring the magic back home to keep the movie alive. Mm-hmm. And you hit it with the dialogues. Those things were the greatest, man.
Yeah, I had the one that I had that I played the most was The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And I still have the cassette in kind of like a keepsakes box, And,
wow!
But it's that thing where like you said, it was the music, it was the dialogue, it was basically the entirety of the anthology movie, and it just played through, and you're just like, and it was Sterling Holloway's voice and Sebastian Cabot and all those, and you're just listening. And as a little kid, it was almost like looking back, and I'm genuinely just pondering this in this very moment with you, is I think that those are kind of what taught me the beauty of storytelling, that it was, I couldn't see it, but I had to sit and I had to listen. And even though there was a movie, whatever, but it was like I was listening to the dialogue, listening to the music, that it was taking me on a journey. And how can I do that for the listener, the person that's sitting and listening to this podcast in their car, in their house, while they're mowing the lawn or on a jog, whatever, hopefully keeping them entertained on a flowing story each and every podcast. I think I learned that from those old read-alongs.
I would tend to agree with you. My dad, when we was growing up, would introduce me to old recordings of radio shows,
Yeah.
right? And those things were amazing, right? Because your mind, so you want to talk about storytelling, right? You're listening to the audio, but your mind is filling up with what you're seeing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly a good way of saying that, how to introduce storytelling, in the arc, the beginning, middle, and end. And I think the storybooks like that came out, and you're right. I know there were little golden books and all that kind of stuff that had that, right? They all, for when you're young, those are great ways to understand how a story is told, and all stuff. So I love that analogy there, Zach.
And I love the ones that they were like the story of the movie. It wasn't necessarily like movie accurate. It seemed like they took a little bit of liberty. Like just over my shoulder here, I have Blackbeard's Ghost.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And Peter Ustinov reading the story and just his embellishment and whatever. It plays out different than the movie, but you're still hearing his telling of that. And I have a number of, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Swiss Family Robinson and Follow Me Boys and Old Yeller.
Oh yeah.
All these,
okay.
It's just so great. And sometimes you almost kind of get a little bit more out of the story.
Oh yeah.
But it's just great.
Yeah. I always thought they were wonderful keepsakes. And, if we had hindsight 2020, wouldn't you love to have kept some of those,
Yeah.
I mean, just that, and you can't play the 45 anymore, or maybe you can, I think you could, but just the memories that it would bring back, just wonderful. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's amazing, like the foresight that they had to preserve those things.
Yeah.
Kind of moving into park music a little bit. One of my, prized possessions is as I have a few, well, it's a number of prized possessions. They're from the parks and Disney Imagineering experiences. So like the Country Bears album, it's got the flip book and the artist renderings from Mark Davis. And it's like, who was thinking of saying like, hey, you're going to come see our thing. And also here's the music that you just experienced to take home. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. And I wish they would do more of that.
Yeah.
Like I remember how difficult it was for me to get illuminations, wishes, unless, and I get it, unless you go to the park. But a lot of times I would go to the park. Finally, I got them, and they, like you said, their price, immediately burned them to MP3s and,
Yep.
not losing these. And then the CD stays, I wish there was something they would do more of, and get that stuff. I think they're doing better with Spotify and the streaming stuff. But you're right, some of that stuff was just wonderful because it got you like Country Bear. My God, can we talk about Country Bear?
Go ahead.
Right?
I love the Country Bear Jamboree. So Dave, you go ahead. Right? Give me your Country Bears love letter.
Oh, some of the best.
This is
music.
your time.
Oh, Mama, don't shoot little Buford. Oh my God. I mean, I get why they had why they replaced it and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
I remember seeing Big Al for the first time, and all that stuff was original.
Yeah,
and you got introduced to that, and it was one little segment versus another little segment, and they were such well-crafted songs.
Yeah,
and there's Big Al at the end, and oh my God, yeah, all the fellows who turn me on, turn me down, or what, I'm sure I'm butchering a lot of it, but there were such clever lyrics, and I hope one day they'll bring it back. But like, that's the stuff, right? You knew that because you got the album to take home and you listened to it, and it resonated with you, so that the next time you went, the songs weren't being introduced, you were singing along with them. You couldn't wait. It was like seeing your favorite artist who released an album, and now you get to see them do it live. So.
Because it's that collective experience. It's I love this thing, you love this thing, and we unashamedly are loving this together, and we're just belting it out. And you said it earlier, there's nothing quite like the live experience when you go see, like, you know how much you enjoy something. And I know this sounds silly, and I'm going to place myself in a category here, but work with me, Dave.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago.
May not be that silly.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I went with a buddy of mine, and we went and saw the Jonas Brothers. And this is
okay.
This is
All
their
right.
20th anniversary, and I was at the right age of Disney Channel when they were on the channel, and so I've watched them in their careers, and so to get their 20th anniversary special or concert, excuse me. I have been in a lot of concerts. My very first concert was Kiss, so I've heard Loud. But when you're in the arena there in Orlando, with that many screaming girls losing their minds over these three boys from Jersey walking down the catwalk, you're like, holy cow. But when the song hits and it's the first note or the drum beat and the lick, when the room erupts, there's just this collective like, yes, we love this thing that is happening right now. You know what I mean? That's exactly what that cheer means. Is I'm very happy about this thing that is happening, as are the other 49,000 people.
That are doing,
and it's just wild. It's this electric moment. Like you're not the one on stage, but the hair on the back of your head is standing up. You're like, this is it. This is what we're here for.
Yeah, no, not silly at all. Not silly at all, man. We've all been there to experience a live event, especially like if you're looking forward to it, you build it up, build it up. And then, like you said, how about the anticipation of getting to the arena, right? It all builds up and then the lights hit and boom, the music hits and you are just golden for that 2.5 hours or whatever it is. So yeah.
And leading up to it, you're going, God, we paid so much for these tickets. We paid so much for parking. I kind of want the T-shirt. We had to pay for dinner, the whole thing. And then the midway through, you're like, I would buy it all over again. It's just all right. I anticipate us talking a lot about Disney, but I'm just really getting jazzed and having fun talking music. Who have you seen that you're just like, that was a stellar show? Like who really?
I knew I had a feeling you were going to ask. I have to tell you that I had the pleasure of seeing Stevie Wonder twice. He doesn't come up. Yeah. He doesn't come up here very often. He came up here, many, many years ago, when Part-Time Lover was released. So that tour. So and I'll always remember, first of all, it's Stevie Wonder, right?
Yeah.
3 hours. Wow. 3 hours with a little bit of an intermission. I mean, just like you want to talk about getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
And I remember end of the concert, they're trying to wrangle him off stage, and he wants to play more. I'm like, and this is a Wednesday night in Buffalo, and we're all going, Stevie, you got to work in the morning, man. It's midnight, dude.
Yeah.
And then so Stevie for me is like, maybe because we haven't seen him a lot. He only came up here twice.
Yeah.
That I remember. He maybe before. So that's a concert I'll always remember. You always remember your first concert. The first concert my mom and dad took me to, the Carpenters.
Nice. One of the greatest drummers in rock and roll, that character.
That's right. Yeah. And that voice. And of course, I gravitated towards, oh my God, I'm having a brain fart right now. The brother. Oh my God, what's
the brother?
Yeah, her brother. I can't think of his first name.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my God.
Here's my thing, Dave. I always rag on the Carpenters. It's terrible. I'm always like, I can't stand this. But then one of my guilty pleasures is I will drive down the road with the windows down, listening to Top of the World, singing the harmonies with no shame. I will sing the brothers part, and I'm nailing it. It's me and Karen there in the front seat.
I got to find it out now. Yeah. So that, that was the first concert, your mom and dad take you, I think it was John Denver may have been the second one. And then, so concerts. So Stevie's great. I had the really unbelievable moment to go see Billy Joel's last concert at Madison Square Garden. So talk about, I've never had an opportunity to see. I've seen Billy a bunch of times because he's really good about coming to Buffalo. Yeah. But I've never been in the Garden. So to see him in the Garden was a moment I won't forget at all. So, but it's tough to say your favorite, right? Because they all mean something different.
Sure. And like you said, the
Yeah.
different influences, the different appreciations, like especially when the music that you love is so varied, when you're like, yeah, but this is a completely different category and you can't even place it in the same, strata as someone else.
Right. Richard Carpenter. Okay, I got that out of my side. I got that out of my side.
You can sleep tonight.
I can sleep tonight. Sorry.
All
I
right,
know somebody. Go ahead. Sorry. I'm good.
Who's the one that got away? Who was the one that you had the opportunity or could have gone that you were kicking yourself? There may be many, but who's one that
No. The one that got away was the Police came here on their last tour. And I said, no, and I wanted to see them, but I went, I don't know. And then they came again, and that was a money thing. Like, I don't know if I want to pay X dollars to see them. They're older now, blah, 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 blah. And I had people go, yeah. As if they don't still play great,
Yeah.
That's the one where you go, what was I thinking? You idiot,
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I have a makeup. Paul McCartney came a bunch of years ago, and same thing. I went, God, I don't want to spend about it. And everybody who went said he was great. In 2 weeks, he's coming back, and I have tickets. So
nice. I'm so stoked for you.
Yeah. So
please tell me.
I don't say that to boast or anything like that. No. It's just that I've had. I'm absolutely blessed to be able to see these people, and appreciate it. So
there was a time when I have to craft this carefully because of the full details of the story. But I'd once had the opportunity to go to a smaller theater, where like maybe like a comedy show would be, like where stand up kind of, so
very
like
intimate theater,
a hall, but still, not like an arena. And it was BB King.
Okay.
And I made the decision not to go.
Okay.
And I want to say he passed maybe a year later.
Oh.
And I remember the guy that I was going to go with, I was like, hey, how was it? And he was like, yeah, he basically played like 4 or 5 songs, but he just kind of like told stories and kind of just freestyled the whole night. I'm just like,
oh, wow.
just hitting myself. I was like, I can't believe it.
Let me ask you this, because I think this is a flaw of me, but and maybe not. Will you go see an artist who maybe has passed their prime, but you're a big fan of it, or do you like for instance, there was somebody who came by who I was a big fan of him, and I had seen that artist when they were kind of in their heyday, and I know that their vocals, has kind of and I was like, I don't know if I want to go back because I've got this image of them, this great memory, and now I don't want it, and I don't know if that's wrong of me or like, I don't know, man.
I get it. And there's a few people. So like, I love Van Halen, and on their last tour that they did with David Lee, a buddy of mine got tickets and he was stoked. He was like me. He was like, he's like, I'm going. And Eddie was like my first guitar hero, like my guy.
Okay.
But I was hearing how Dave was singing and it was just this really bad performance. And I looked at it, I said, I don't think you could pay me to go see them. And he was like, dude, to be in the same room and hear Eddie Van Halen play. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, I was like, I get that. And they drove like, I want to say from, Pensacola to Tampa. So it was like a, 7.5, 8 hour drive.
Okay.
And so they, that's an investment. That's a commitment.
That's an investment.
And I remember he came back and he was like, dude, it was like, a heck of a show. And I was just like, he can forever say he saw Eddie Van Halen play guitar.
Yeah, right.
And so it's just that thing, like he's, it wasn't the original lineup because Michael Anthony wasn't with him, but still. So I feel what you're saying there to answer your question. Now, yes, because I know life is fleeting. I grew up in a town where we had the Pensacola Interstate Fair, and for most of my growing up, they would get some acts come through that were definitely past their prime, but you were still seeing, insert name here. And so because of that, I got to see 38 Special.
Okay.
And I got to see Quiet Riot, which was wild. It was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. And I was like, what is this? And my dad goes, bang your head. I'm like, okay. And so, but to really, when you started saying this was the thing that leapt up, is so we know the people that have owned the fair for years. And so if there was an artist that was showing up and we wanted to see them, it was not bizarre or anything weird for us to just go, like, we were old family friends, like we did Christmas with them. So it'd be like, hey, like, can we get to meet blank?
Sure.
And so there was one year where Eddie Money was at the fair.
Okay.
And Dave, I tell you, it was the weirdest experience. So we got to not only go see the show, but we were brought back to the VIP tent prior to the show. Guy was half baked, not to disparage, the dear departed, but I mean, he was just gone. And he was just moving around and he was kind of shucking and jiving. And somebody was like, what was it like? I said, it's the closest I'll ever get to meeting Rodney Dangerfield. Like, it was just this weird bebopping, hey, how you doing? Like, whatever. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And then he went out and performed, but you were watching and it was just like, he did the sax solo and that was great. But as far as like vocal goes, you're like, this is now last year, I had the great fortune, a friend of mine, who's older. I would say he's about your age and just kind of same interests and loves, classic rock. And he goes, I'm on a mission to see all the bands that are still touring before they all kick the can. I went, okay. And he said, my wife hates concerts and I just hate going alone. If I just shoot you a list of names of people that are coming to town or at least in the near vicinity, will you go? Like, I'll pay for your ticket. Will you go?
Oh, wow. Nice.
I'm like, of course. Wow. Like, thank you so much. Like, please let me know. Yeah. And so the Rolling Stones came to Camping World here in Orlando. And so, they've lost a little bit of speed, but Dave, when I tell you that was one of the most fun times that I've had, because there's something to stay, and you're gonna, you'll be able to say this, when you see Paul, but when you stand you're sitting in a seat and you look down and you go, that is Mick Jagger strutting across that stage. He's older than Methuselah and he's down there, and both Ronnie Wood and Keith Richards look like, leather that has been rode hard and put up wet. And you go, man, that's the Rolling Stones, dude.
You had asked me about the one that got away, the concert we got. The Stones is another one. They the last time they came here, they played the big football stadium here.
Yeah.
And I didn't go. And I immediately regretted it the day after I saw some of the videos and all that kind of stuff. For that reason, they sounded great, and it was like, that's Mick. That's and look at him. I mean, he sounds great, Yeah. So oh my God. So the Stones. Yeah.
It's the funniest thing when you see a 70-plus-year-old man walk out with a bedazzled shirt and rip it off, and the crowd goes nuts. I'm thinking any other guy in any other, space of life walks into a room and rips his shirt off. Everybody's like, God, put it back on. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, Mick's a different breed, man.
He's allowed. He gets to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I could use a snack break. Hey, listener. If you've been enjoying the show and want to be a bigger part of what we're building here, I'd love to invite you to join the Patreon. It's a great way to support the podcast, and in return, you get access to some fun stuff like behind-the-scenes updates, bonus content, and even some one-of-a-kind swag like stickers, buttons, and a members-only t-shirt. It helps keep the lights on around here, the conversations flowing, and making this thing something special. So if you're in, come grab your spot. From the balcony to the VIP lounge, each tier brings you deeper into the world of the show. Just head to patreon.com/The Zach Brown Show. I'll see you on the inside.
The vacation you've been waiting for is finally here. Make memories that last a lifetime. Cliché travel commercial statement. The ultimate escape is just a phone call away. Call 555-B-BAY for a free vacation guide.
All right.
Bombaboo Bay, a vacation like no other.
Everyone still here? Oh, good. Let's get back to the show. So you, Mr. Recchione,
Yes, sir.
you've taken your love of music, you've taken your passions, and you've taken it one step further. And you've taken that blank sheet of paper, the terrifying, formidable blank sheet of paper, and said, I will
Dun,
conquer
dun,
you.
dun.
And you have created your own albums.
Yeah.
Tell me about your music.
Okay. As you and your listeners know, you and I being musicians, music has always been a part of our lives, right?
Yeah.
Technology, by trade, I'm a computer programmer, so I'm very comfortable with technology. But years and years ago, when the home computer, right, and now, I can record stuff. And the ability to be able to create, that was something that was way out of reach, right, for most of my life. I would write songs, but who could produce them or record them, and and B, who's going to listen to them.
Yeah.
So, oh God, 2009 was probably before 2009. I put my love of Disney and music together, and I released an album called Sketches. And that's kind of, it was a moment, because I took a bunch of the Disney's classics, which was a lot of fun because I had to get a hold of Disney and work out the licensing and all that kind of stuff, and and not sign your life away, but it was basically like, yes, you can record our music, but you can't have Mickey Mouse on the cover, or a castle, gotcha, okay, So Sketches was kind of like an animator sketches on a blank piece of paper. Mm-hmm. I'm going to create arrangements, so it's all my. Some are jazz, some are not, but they're all my instrumentals of some famous and maybe not so famous Disney songs. Released that in 2009. And then I released a couple EPs. I released one called Stories Without Words, which, was just a collection. And then a couple years ago, I did that one I mentioned earlier called The Kid from the Falls.
Yeah,
and it's I've got a picture of me on Christmas morning with a little toy piano on the cover. It was fun. That. It was fun to go through that, and a lot of the album titles were all titles that people from around this area would get. Like there's our area code 716, so that's the song on here. The one I did with my brother called The Brother from the Same Mother. I have a song on there called Lake Effect for Lake Effect Snow, so it was a lot of fun putting that together. That's an instrumental album. So,
do you have a song called Beef on Weck?
I do not. Maybe for the sequel. I don't have any food stuff on there. What was fun though, and I think you have to be kind of from the area to get it. But when I did the music video for the song called 716, again the area code for this, I went all around town taking pictures of what landmarks. So hit the Bill Stadium, hit the Sabres Arena. I hit where Beef on Wick was, the wings, different restaurants, different locations, put that together for the song. And that was a lot of fun to do.
That's cool.
And now I'm working on simultaneously 2 more albums. One that I've never done before. It's a pure vocal album.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah. And another one will be kind of like Stories Without Words, Chapter 2, I think I'm calling it, but another, so I've been pretty fortunate to be able to have the technology to, and live, be able to produce stuff in my house and then get it out there on, streaming services and YouTube and the TikToks and all that kind of stuff, just to hopefully it reaches people that, will appreciate it. It'll say something to them, and that'd be great.
Yeah. You're a creator first and foremost. And I think as a fellow creator, we're very well familiar with that feeling of I'm not good enough. I don't have the thing. I don't, these people could do it so much better, or I know how to do this, but I don't know how to do that. So I shouldn't even get started. When you're going through this album process, when you're building music, when you're writing music, when you're looking for the really, what are some of your signposts? What are some of those things that you're like, this is what's going to help me get over that hump, or that the fear, the frustration, the imposter syndrome? Like, what are those things that you employ to plow through, to, again, to borrow the Waldism, to keep moving forward?
Yeah. I personally, I don't think I ever get over the imposter syndrome. I just like doing this vocal album.
Yeah.
That's a big stretch for me because, it's one thing to do instrumentals. I'm very comfortable with my skills there. They're not, I'm sure there are a ton of people that play way better than me. They write better than me, but that's a kind of comfort zone. To actually put my voice out there, that's like,
Yeah.
there's not enough plugins that can make this sound. I don't know if you ever get, but I think you have to embrace it. I think you do have to go like, I think maybe, Zach, at this point in my life, it's just about getting it out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are
you a fan of the Rocky movies at all?
Okay. So
no, that's fine.
I've seen the first one, and I really, really liked it. But I know I need, because I want to see the Mr. T and the Drago and I must break him, and if he dies, he dies. I know that I need to, as an American, I need to do this. So hold me to it, Dave.
That's fine. I no judgment here. No judgment at all.
See, I told you I'm getting better at saying I don't know, and I won't be better.
So, and not to make this interview any longer than it probably should be.
Great.
So one of the later Rocky movies, it was one he did just a couple years ago. But there's a line in it, so he hasn't fought. He's got his restaurant, blah, blah, blah. Sorry. He's talking to his brother-in-law, and he says, like, I want to fight again. And his brother's like, what, why? And Rocky's got that, well, there's something inside me, man. I just got to get it out. That's how I've been lately with my music. It's like, you know what? I don't know if anybody's going to listen, but it's in me and I just got to get it out if it's just for my sake. And that's how I think I've been kind of fighting the whole fear and imposter syndrome thing out there. Just, it's in me. Let me just get it out. And then that's the start.
Well, I think, to quote our buddy Jeff C. quoting TD Jakes, kind of like Michael Scott quoting Wayne Gretzky, we are created in the image of the creator to be creative. And I know when I am in a place where I've not been creating, when I've not been putting out something, music or visual, whatever, like I get antsy, I get frustrated, I get like really anxious, and there's, then that anxiety gets replaced with the anxiety of, is this good enough? And like you're saying, like, yeah, but man, I love what you just said. Like you sometimes just don't get over it, and you just keep pushing through. Well, to go back to Eddie Van Halen, I watched an interview with him one time where this is years, like they were in the like Van Hagar era, and he was like, man, I still get butterflies every single night, but when I hit that first chord, it's like game on. Yeah. I think that's the moment that you kind of give yourself over to the art and to the craft and just go, I'm a vessel, let it happen.
I love that. You talk about the Jeff C. TG Jakes thing. I mean, that's part of it too. Like, you and I know that our talent is not our own, right? Yeah. It comes from our creator. And so part of that is if I don't do it, there's a bit of a dishonoring, like, hey, I not everybody has this. Yeah. And it's really a gift. People will talk about you can train it, you can do this, and yes, that's all true, absolutely. But people ask me, can anybody sing? Well, yeah, but true singers have that gift. True artists have that gift. And honestly, I'm not sure if I ever shared this, but about maybe 2 years ago, I got to a really kind of a place where all the no's were piling up. Doors were being shut. Music wasn't really going anywhere, and it made me stop. Like you were just saying, sometimes you get into that place where you don't create and all that kind of stuff. And I had kind of really shut the door a little bit, thinking, well, what's the point? But then it started building up. And then I just came to the realization, it's like, I got it. Like Rocky said, I got to get it out, and something like that. So, so that's where I am musically right now. And like I said, in the next months or so, I'll be starting to release one song at a time and getting it out on the platforms. And even if that's enough, that's enough,
I love that.
Yeah, thanks,
I love it. Dave,
thanks.
Where can our friends find your music? Like if they want to listen to all these, well, they should. They want to. I know they do. Where can they find it?
Well, if they're interested, I think the best place to start would be my website, which is djrmusic.com.
Okay.
There, it's a very simple website with just you can the link to Spotify if they're on Spotify, YouTube, and there's also a button there that will bring up all the links to all the places that you can find me, like the TikToks and all that kind of stuff. So, and then so all my albums are on Spotify right now and all the streaming services. So cool. I would encourage anybody who's interested. I would be very appreciated if they would check out the website and then see if there's anything that they like. And if they like it, thank you.
If they don't like it, well.
If they don't like you, thank you for taking the time to check it out.
There you go.
We'll always appreciate somebody to take a little time out of their days to go, not my thing. Okay, thanks. So,
I will make sure to include links for all of your things in the show notes. So if you're listening and you're like, yeah, I really want to check out this guy's thing. I'm from Buffalo and I want to hear this. Click on the link. It's in the show notes if you're, wherever you're listening to this. So Dave, my friend, you're the man. I love you.
We got it. Oh, man. We're going
to
do
this
a
again.
part two. Yeah. Let's do it. Thank you so much, Jack. I had an absolutely fantastic time, and I really appreciate you giving me some time and getting, a chat for you and I to just talk about stuff that we love, man. So appreciate it.
Once again, I want to thank my guest, Dave Recchione, for being on the show. If you want to check out Dave's music, and I recommend that you do, search for David Recchione on your favorite streaming service. I also want to thank you, my friend and listener, for taking some time with me. If you're enjoying this podcast, I ask that you take just a moment to write a kind review and leave a 5-star rating on your favorite streaming platform. You can also share this or any of our other episodes with a friend, because sharing is caring. The Zach Brown Show is hosted and produced by me, Zach Brown. It is masterfully engineered by Corey Jess and is part of the Zach Brown Network. Our album art is by Luis Lopez. Our catchy outro music is Nurse by Corey Jess. You can follow him on Instagram at corey.jess.productions. Follow The Zach Brown Show on Facebook or Instagram. And finally, you can help support the show by signing up to be a Patreon member. Memberships start as low as $5 a month. You heard me, $5. With perks like buttons, stickers, sneak peeks at upcoming projects, and even an exclusive shirt. Sign up right now at patreon.com/The Zach Brown Show. That's all for this episode. I hope you come back for the next one. Until then, take care.